Hey, welcome. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make the process of achieving your goals a lot simpler, a lot easier, and a lot more natural and effortless and spontaneous. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to go with the flow of life so that you can actually utilize the natural energy that is flowing in the present moment to work when it's time to work and to rest when it's time to rest. This will make your work a lot more efficient, and when you actually do work, you're going to be working in harmony with the natural flow, with the energy that's actually present in the moment. So when you take inspired action, your work is more efficient and it's better quality as well. And you don't have to try as hard because the energy of life is kind of carrying you through the work and it's very easy. And also, when it's time to rest and relax, then your resting is a lot more rejuvenating and just more natural, and you don't have to be anxious about, oh, should I be working right now? No, because it's time to rest and you can get a more full and peaceful rest. What I'm talking about in this video is really what the Taoists talk about a lot. The Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu's been talking about this for like thousands of years. In Buddhism, they talk about the middle way. Really what we're talking about is being present in the moment and actually kind of being sensitive to how your body is feeling, and also really being sensitive to your intuition. So this might sound a little bit woo-woo to a lot of people who are kind of entrenched in the hustle culture mindset, which is the kind of mindset where regardless of how I feel, I'm just going to work my ass off like a mule, and the reason why it's like a mule, because I'm like a dumb animal. I'm not really using my human intuition. I'm not really using my intelligence and my spirituality, which is what makes us human. That's what makes us different from animals. Really, I'm just going to kind of work day in, day out like an animal and just kind of put my head down and completely ignore how my body feels and how my emotions are feeling. I'm just gonna fuck my emotions and just work regardless of how I feel. Now, there is a very deep importance to the quality of discipline. Discipline really is a virtue, and it's important to cultivate discipline, which I've talked about in my last video, 7 ways to cultivate discipline. But really in this video, we're talking about how can we still have discipline in our life and not just be a lazy bum, but to also work in harmony with the universe and to be a lot more efficient and effective in our actions. So first, I'm going to take a drink of water and we're going to get right into it. So what if I told you that the way that you're working in your life right now is needlessly complicated, and you're actually creating a lot of unnecessary obstacles for yourself to overcome because you have a goal in your life, right? Whether that be to increase your money, start a business, get a relationship, improve your health, improve your spiritual growth, work on your passion, create a career for yourself, whatever your goal is. What if I told you that it's actually a lot simpler than you think to achieve that goal? But what you're doing is you're creating a needless amount of obstacles that are kind of creating a barrier in between you and your goal. For example, recently in my life, I've been focusing on growing my YouTube channel, and I've been wanting to create really high quality YouTube videos. And for the longest time, for the entire year, I was making it too complicated, where I was thinking like, okay, so how do I edit my video in the perfect way that hijacks my viewers' attention so that, it kind of tricks them into staying on the video by putting in B-roll and by, putting words on the screen. How do I start the video in a way that hooks in their attention, that, makes them want to stay? How do I structure the video in the most interesting way so that I get the most watch time, the most clicks on my thumbnails? How do I use, the most gimmicky titles, clickbaity titles to get views? And it's important, if you're interested in growing on YouTube, it is important to have a good title, a good thumbnail, and good content in your video. But the way that I was doing it was I was trying to do it in a mechanical way that wasn't natural and authentic to me. And what I was doing is I was actually making the process of making a YouTube video so complicated to the point where it was starting to stress me out, and it was starting to not be fun anymore. I was getting anxious because I was spending 4 hours editing a video. And to be honest, guys, I hate editing. I don't like editing. I actually prefer talking. So this was stressing me out. And the core reason I discovered why I was doing this was because I wasn't following the principles of the Taoist masters. The first principle is simplicity. I was walking, listening to an audiobook from one of my favorite authors, Frederick Dodson. I was listening to his book, Success Attracts Success. Great book. And he kind of gave me this insight. He said, 99% of things that you do are a lot simpler than you're making it. And really, if you're having trouble achieving a goal, it's because you're making it too complicated. Really, you need to boil it down to its most simple essence. And as I was walking, this kind of lit a light bulb in my head. I was like, oh my God, you're totally right. I've been making it too complicated. So what I did was I boiled it down. I said, okay, so how do I make a YouTube video? Step 1, I turn on the camera. Step 2, I sit down. And step 3, I talk about the thing that I want to talk about, and then I upload it to YouTube. And that's how I make a YouTube video. And this was a very liberating feeling. Like, I felt free. Like, it was simple. Like, oh my God, like I was putting all these obstacles in my way. Like, oh, I need to use this marketing tactic and I got to read this book. No, I don't got to do that. I just got to talk about the thing that I want to talk about, bring some authentic energy and offer value. And besides that, everything else is too much, actually. So we really want to strip down and we want to leave the bare bones essentials. This is one of the best ways to go with the flow of your life, to make your actions natural and authentic. So when you want to do something, just do it the way that you would naturally do it. You don't necessarily need to read 20 books about it before you do it. Sometimes you just kind of make it natural and just do it. So, for example, let's say you're trying to start a journaling practice, right? Instead of looking at 10 YouTube videos that are teaching you how to journal, the proper way to journal, the formalized method, instead just get a piece of paper and a pen and you make up the way to journal. Follow your heart. Feel in like, how do I authentically want to journal? And then that's the most effective way to journal. Now, guys, there actually is a benefit to learn the formal way to do a thing, but then we got to kind of mix it in. Once we learn the formal way, we got to then kind of let go of the training wheels and then add in our own authentic flair. So, for example, when you're learning to meditate, in the beginning, it's important to learn the basics of meditation. Maybe we learn a technique, right? Like Vipassana, where you focus on the rising and falling of the belly. Or maybe you do mindfulness with labeling, and you focus on the technique for the first month. You learn how to do it properly. But after a few months of practice and you kind of get a grasp on the technique, then the best way to actually progress in your meditation practice is to make it natural. To actually flow with the present moment. To actually be present and aware of what's going on, and to really receive the moment. So this is another theme I wanted to talk about, going with the flow. In order to go with the flow in your life, you need to develop a habit of pausing to receive the moment. Normally what we do is we're in our masculine all the time, where we're trying to project our wants and our thoughts of how we think we should do it. We're kind of projecting our will onto the moment before we've even paused to just receive what's actually happening. This is kind of like when you're talking to someone, you give them advice before you even actually pause to receive what they're telling you. You just want to actually receive what the other person is saying without projecting your ideas onto it. Just really receive it. Then after you've fully received it and really chewed on it, then you can act from that place. So my meditation teacher calls this landing before taking off. So before you go to do something, pause and actually check in with your body and feel like, okay, how do I feel right now? Do I actually want to do this thing? Or maybe there's something else that I want to do that feels better. So I talk about this a lot in my video, how to unlock your intuition, but the way this looks practically, how do you practically go with the flow in your life? Well, first of all, you just be present in the moment and you actually receive how you feel. Now, whenever you're making a decision in your life, like, oh, should I do this thing or should I do this thing? You, instead of deciding based on your mental idea of what this YouTube video told me I should do, or what I told myself that I should do yesterday, or what my mom wants me to do, or what society wants me to do, instead of making a decision based on what you think you should do, instead you decide based on what I authentically want to do in the moment, based on my actual heart feeling. So based on whether or not I'm actually excited to do task A, I'll choose task A or task B, right? So I wake up in the morning, right? I drink some water and then I think, okay, so should I meditate right now or should I work out right now? And you really just want to feel into which one's making you more excited. Right? Maybe yesterday you wanted to meditate first thing, but maybe today you want to work out first thing. So you just kind of practically choose which one feels the best. Well, I kind of like keeping my morning routine a little bit consistent, but maybe, for example, you're going to go see a movie with your friends, right? And you're deciding which movie to see. Feel in like which movie feels exciting for me to watch. It doesn't matter what I think I should watch. It doesn't matter which movie got the best reviews, or it doesn't matter, what movie I should watch. It just only matters like what movie do I want to watch. Even if it's like a kid's movie or an animated movie, or maybe it's a romance movie and you're a guy and your friends will make fun of you. Or maybe it's an action movie and traditionally you don't like action movies. It doesn't matter about like what your mind is telling you. It really matters what your heart is telling you. And really we want to implement this strategy, this attitude to every single micro moment of our life. So in every moment we're being present and we're really checking in with our heart feelings. This is our emotional guidance system. So why does this work? You might, because I already know you're thinking like, okay, Adam, this seems a little bit impractical. Let me tell you why this works. Your mind and your heart is connected to infinite intelligence. You're connected to a source that is more intelligent than you and is more knowledgeable than you. So your heart kind of knows things that you don't know how it knows those things. Have you ever just like gotten a bad feeling about something before you do it? Maybe you're going to go to a party, but you just kind of have a bad feeling about going to this party. You don't know why, but you just have a bad feeling about it. And then you're like, oh, screw it, screw my heart, don't worry, I'm just going to go anyways. And then what you do is you convince yourself why you should go despite what your heart is telling you. So really keep this in mind. Whenever you're trying to convince yourself of anything, of why you should do something, that means that it's not in alignment. Because if it was in alignment, you wouldn't have to convince yourself. It would just feel right and it would just be obvious. It's self-evident. If it's not obvious and you have to kind of give yourself a reason for why you should do this thing, then it's out of alignment. So you convince yourself, you say, oh, I should go to this party. My friends are going to be there. I should get out more. I haven't been out in a long time. I should go to this party. You come up with all these reasons. It'll be fun. And then you're driving to the party, you go, and first thing you decide, you realize there's a traffic jam and that it's difficult to get there. The road's blocked. You're like, fuck, well, okay, whatever. This is annoying. I don't even want to go to this party anyways, but okay. So you navigate through the traffic jam. It takes you an extra 30 minutes to get there. And then when you finally get there, you notice that nobody that you know is there. Your friends all decided to stay home. And now you're stuck at this party and you don't know anybody. And the music they're playing is not even good, so you can't even dance. And then you might notice in the corner of the party, somebody gets into a fight and then they have to shut the party down early. And then you have to go home 2 hours early and it's just a terrible time. Or maybe the party goes so late, or you're having such a bad time at this party where none of your friends are there, where you say, screw it, I'm just going to do some drugs. And, you get too high on weed, or God forbid, bang a line of cocaine or some stupid stuff, and then you have a terrible night and it messes you up and it screws you up, and then you have to recover the next day or the day after, and it brings you out of alignment in your life. It throws you off track with your life purpose. So this is just a practical example of showing you had a bad feeling beforehand. Your heart already knew not to go, but you convinced yourself and you said, oh, maybe I should go anyways. Another example would be like choosing a university program, right? Whenever you're making a decision or a choice in your life, You really want to feel into your heart and what feels best in your heart. So for me in my life, for example, I actually chose not to go to university. I chose instead to spend that year traveling in Thailand because I wanted to stay at a monastery to actually meditate with monks. So for 6 weeks when I was in Thailand, I did like back to back to back Vipassana retreats with actual monks, and I was learning how to meditate because that's what I authentically wanted to do. And that was the best decision, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. But it was a hard decision because I also thought like, well, maybe I should go to university. Maybe I should go study philosophy, or I should go, get an education, right? What if I'm making a mistake? What if I miss out, right? But I noticed that I was trying to convince myself why I should go to university. Thinking like, oh, maybe I'll meet people, I'll have friends to discuss with, maybe I'll learn something. But it just didn't feel right in my heart. Intuitively, I knew that all the stuff that I want to learn about philosophy, I can learn by just reading a lot of books. And if I ever want to talk to people at the university, I could just go to the university on my own time. I don't have to pay 10 grand and be swamped with essays. I can kind of do that on my own. Best decision I've ever made in my entire life. Because now I'm a pretty well-educated person in terms of a lot of the stuff that I actually want to learn about, because I'm self-educated and I'm not 50 grand in debt with student loans. So that was a great decision. Plus I had the time of my life in Thailand, and it was great because I followed my heart, and I didn't have to convince myself like why I should go meditate with monks in Thailand. I just decided, and because it was obvious, I just wanted to go. So those are some practical examples of like how to follow your intuition. Now, the number one thing that blocks you from following your intuition is the ego mind, basically, and it has to do with like the fear-based mind. So when I'm giving these examples, you might be a little bit worried and think like, well, Adam, but is this practical? Like, is my heart right every single time? How can my gut feeling be right 100% of the time? What if my gut feeling's wrong? Then I'll be screwed. I'll follow my heart. I'll decide not to go to university, let's say, but then 3 years later, I have no money and I have no education and I have no degree, and I'm fucked. I'm in a terrible position, all because I followed my heart like some kind of unpractical hippie. So follow your heart, that sounds like, impractical advice. I need to follow my mind. I need to follow the structure and the system. I need to plan. I need to strategize. This is the fear-based mind. This is a very fear-based logic, where you think, what if my heart is wrong? What if I'm fucked? What if I mess up? What if I take the wrong path and I'm screwed? It's funny because we actually get ourselves into more trouble by following the fear logic than we get into trouble by following the love logic and the heart logic. See, even if you follow your mind, there is still no guarantee that you'll be safe and that you'll be secure and comfortable. Because when we follow our heart, it's kind of like we're jumping into an abyss and life is scary, and there's no consistency, there's no guarantee that my heart is going to be right. When you're thinking of going to that party, you think to yourself, what if my gut feeling is wrong? And what if it's an awesome party? And what if I actually miss out? What if all my friends are there and they have an amazing time without me, and then I feel bad because, I tried to follow my heart, but my heart was wrong, or I misjudged the message it was giving me. See, this is the fear mind. We think like, oh, if I follow my heart, what if my heart's wrong? So really what this whole thing is about trusting your heart. And really your heart is God. So we're talking about having faith in God. And when I say faith in God, a lot of scientific people, they shut the video off. They say, "Oh, faith in God, you're just a religious nutcase." But I'm not talking about the religious God. I'm not talking about reading the Bible. I'm talking about having faith in your intelligence that's in your heart. I'm talking about having faith in the source of your being, trusting in the divine plan, you can say. And when I say plan, that makes it sound like it's deterministic, like we have no free will, like everything is predetermined. You do have choice. You can choose to follow your heart or not. So you have will. But the question is, are you going to follow God's will, or are you going to follow your fear will? Are you going to follow your fear mind? Now, one of the main ways that we can kind of reduce fear so that we can actually follow our heart more effectively is by reducing attachment and by reducing importance to the outcome. So in Vadim Zeland's book, Reality Transurfing, fantastic book, I love it, he has a very good explanation of what kind of brings us out of alignment with the natural flow and what causes us to overcomplicate things and to self-sabotage ourselves and to get in our own way by making things harder than they need to be. What causes us to fight against the natural flow of life is too much importance. We've attributed too much importance to our goal. We've put it up on a pedestal. And we think to ourselves, if only I can achieve this glorious goal, then my life will be amazing and I'll be happy. This goal will make me happy. Because I'm not happy and fulfilled in my heart, I need this external thing to make me happy. So it becomes very important to get this external thing. Because if I don't get this external thing, then I'm going to be depressed and sad and miserable. So it's like all of my happiness is dependent on something external to me. So a classic example of this would be in dating as a guy. One way that I had to learn this lesson of reducing importance was when I was learning how to approach beautiful women and show them that I'm interested. Now, as a guy, the absolute best way to approach a beautiful woman and to get her number and to ask her out on a date is to be honest, authentic, and natural. And not to try too hard to beat around the bush. We're not trying to manipulate her. We're not trying to use a specific pickup line. We're not trying to use some tactic or gimmick to get her to like me. Some trick, some psychology hack. Oh, look her in the eyes and then look at her mouth and then look at her ear and then do a triangle with your eyes, and then that'll trigger her subconscious mind, and then that'll get her to like you. No, see, we're not trying to hack her fucking psychology. We're just trying to be honest and authentic and natural. Hey, hello. I know this is a bit random, but I thought you were really cute. I kind of like the way that you're dressed. And I just wanted to tell you that I like you, and maybe I wanted to talk to you and figure out if you're cool or something like that. That was a little bit awkward because I'm talking to a freaking camera right now. But you can say, hey, I think you're cute. I wanted to talk to you. Hello, my name is Adam. And what's your name? Something like that. I wanted to talk to you for a few minutes to see if you're cool, then maybe get your number so I can take you out. It's very direct. Now, Lao Tzu would say, that's fantastic, because many people would say, oh no, that's too direct, right? She's gonna get offended. She's gonna think I'm creepy. So actually, what makes girls think that you're creepy is when you're not honest about your actual intentions. Because when you go approach a beautiful woman at a party or at on the street or something, she's like, okay, why is this random guy talking to me? Right? And if you're just kind of standing there beating around the bush, talking about the weather or whatever randomly, she's like, okay, this guy is too afraid to be honest with me and to tell me, hey, the reason why he's talking to me is because he likes me. He thinks I'm pretty. Because if I'm a pretty girl and my hair's done, my nails are done, I'm dressed nicely, and some random guy comes talking to me, the odds are he's probably talking to me because he thinks I'm cute and wants to get all up in me or whatever. So as a guy, it's important to be honest. Say, hey, I just wanted to talk to you because I think you're cute and I wanted to take you out on a date. So now that actually kind of, in a weird way, makes her feel a little bit more calm, because she's like, okay, this guy, he's actually honest. He's open with his intentions. His intentions are not hidden. They're out in the open. Now, all of this to say, what makes a guy able to be open with his intentions is if there isn't too much importance placed on this girl. What causes you to be fake and weird and needy in dating, in business, even in your health, the way that you eat food, what causes you to be robotic and inauthentic and fake is too much importance placed on the goal. So I think, oh, this beautiful girl, she's a goddess. Wow, 10 out of 10. Oh my God, if only I could get a girl like that. Oh my God, my whole life would be fulfilled. Right? Because, my life is shit, and if I got a sexy girl, that would fix everything for me. That mentality never works, because it causes you to be needy. It causes you to get nervous, and then you get scared, and then you start to hide and trip over your words and close off. Girls don't like that, right? People in general don't like that. I'm not talking only about girls. This is the same if you're a girl and a guy approaches you and you like him and you want to kind of play it cool, right? If you put too much importance on this one guy, then you're gonna fuck up. You're gonna say something weird. You're gonna make a fool of yourself, and you're gonna self-sabotage. You're gonna make it needlessly complicated. That's what self-sabotage is. When you place too much importance on the goal, the reason why it's so hard to achieve a goal that you're attached to is because you think that it's so important that you think it's further away than it actually is. Because when you place something on a pedestal, what are you doing? You're actually bringing it further away from you, further out of reach. You got to reach further all the way up onto that pedestal to get it. It requires more energy. So when I was learning how to release a course online for my business, I was making it way harder than it needs to be. I was reading all these marketing books and trying to follow every single step, and I was trying to do the emailing perfectly. I was trying to do the course perfectly, and what I did in my first mini course was, I think I actually ended up putting in too much information, which is a very common trap that a lot of beginners face when they're trying to release on a digital course. What they do is they put too much information into the course. They make it 10 hours long, and they overcompensate. They put too much, and then the the viewer, the consumer, the customer says, fuck this course, there's too much in it. I would rather just have a course that was simple and easy to use and short, right? The shorter the better. I don't want a long course filled with information. I just want a simple course that gets me from point A to point B in as few steps as possible. That's proper business. But I didn't know that, a year ago when I was releasing my first mini course. So I made it too long and put too much information in it. And it was still good, but like it could have been better if I actually put less stuff in it. And the reason why I put so much stuff in it, because I'd never done a mini course before. So it was so important for me. I thought like, oh, I get to make money online with my life purpose. That's like the coolest thing ever, right? I thought that was the most important thing ever. So I put it up on a pedestal. So I worked extra hard and I fucking stressed myself out to release that course. It was very stressful and more difficult than it needed to be. I could have made it a lot easier for myself. So nowadays, now that it's more natural for me to actually live my life purpose and have an online business, I've been doing it for about a year now. Now, even when I do sales calls or when I make products or courses, it's very simple. I'm just open about it. I'm honest. I don't have to use any tactics or gimmicks. I just kind of say what's in the course, and it's a good course. So like, do you want to buy it or not? Like that's kind of like, obviously I don't do it like that, but like it's the point is I'm not needy about it. Like it's not important. It's not as important to me. It's very natural and authentic, and then people trust me. Yeah, so that's how you like go with the flow. The video's not done yet. I still have some other things to say, but to review what we've been talking about, going with the flow of your life is really about being present in the moment, receiving life, receiving what your heart is feeling, what your body is feeling, and just actually receiving the circumstances of the moment instead of trying to project my ideas of what I should do. First, I should wait and kind of see what's going on and then act after I understand what's going on. So first, seek to understand, then seek to be understood. So a big mistake that, for example, a lot of nonprofit organizations make when like we go to Africa to try and help those people in those villages develop and create farming and create clean water and to create jobs for them. One of the things that we do that we make a mistake doing is we try and impose our ideas for what we think they should do onto them before we actually sit with them and talk to them and try and understand their way of life and let them create a plan for themselves. We can facilitate the process of how do they want to develop, right? And let them do it. Not that we tell them, hey, you need to install a democracy and we need to install a police force and we need to do this and we need to do that. We tell them how to do it. Instead of telling them how to do it, first we understand, hey, like, how do you guys want to develop? And then we listen to them and we work with them to help them develop themselves. That's kind of how coaching works. I've been a coach for the last 2 years. And when I'm helping a person create a plan for their life, a lot of new coaches make the mistake of trying to tell people what to do. But that never works. What I found works as a coach is actually, instead of telling someone what to do, just ask them questions, get them to talk, and really try to understand them. 80% of the time when I'm coaching, I'm actually just listening. and trying to understand you. And then 20% of the time I say, okay, based on the all the stuff that I just spent so much time and energy trying to understand about you, now let's create a plan. Because the key is, this is listening 101. Now that the person feels like you actually understand them and their unique situation, now they're open to receiving your advice, because they feel like your advice is based on you actually listening to them. So they feel like your advice is going to be relevant to them because they feel seen and understood. This actually is how sales works as well. When I'm on a sales call, if you want to have a successful sales call, you want to see if your program is good for the person that you're talking to, you have to spend the first 80% of the call listening to their situation, listening to their goals, what they want to achieve. And then after you listen to their struggles and their worries and doubts and fears, and you really relate to them and you understand them and you listen to them, then you can tell them if you think that your course will be helpful for them or not. And then they'll be open because you actually listen to them. It's the same when you go see a doctor, right? Imagine you walk into a doctor's office and the doctor just prescribes you something, say, here, use this medication, but he didn't even listen to you. He didn't even ask you, like, what's wrong. he just gave you medicine, like, before he even, like, asked you what hurts. So that's what we're trying to we're trying to kind of apply that mentality to all of our life, where we're listening to life and then we're acting instead of acting before we listen. This is about being receptive. It's about simplicity, and it's also about patience as well. Lao Tzu said that the whole Tao Te Ching, right, which is, I think, probably the best spiritual book ever written, at least it's my favorite. He said this whole book is just based on 3 principles. Number 1, simplicity. Number 2, patience. Number 3, compassion. Simplicity means don't make it complicated, keep it simple, keep it basic, trust your intuition, do it the natural way. It doesn't need to be the complicated way. Do it the easy way. The easy way is the easiest way. It's the path of least resistance. In physics, energy takes the path of least resistance. When a lightning bolt is striking out of a cloud to hit the earth, the actual the current of energy takes the path of least resistance to get to the earth. And you can see the path is a lightning bolt. It's not a straight line. It's kind of curved and it moves, and it's a bolt shape, right? So in life, the path of least resistance is not a straight line, but sometimes it's a flow. And it really depends on what the moment is calling for. Sometimes people think, like I used to think, like, oh, if I want to make progress in my business, then I just need to work 8 hours a day. But sometimes I found that the most progress I make in my business is if I feel like I want to rest. Today, I don't want to work at all, actually. I really don't want to work. I just want to rest. It's like, okay, I'm just going to lie down on my bed, or I'm going to lie on the couch and look at the ceiling, or I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to relax. I'm going to play some video games. Just talk to my girlfriend. Chill out. Smoke some weed. Or just read a book. Calm down, right? Not work at all. Those sometimes are the most productive days because I get good ideas. The universe was telling me, hey, so the way that the natural energy of existence is structured right now, today, in this current moment, according to infinite amounts of variables, and according to the astrological alignments, according to the weather, according to the collective consciousness, according to the day of the week, right now, because your heart is an infinite supercomputer, it crunches data, right? More data than your monkey brain could possibly crunch. So your infinite intelligent supercomputer of a heart is giving you a signal in the form of a simple feeling by making you feel good when you think about resting. So when you wake up in the morning, you think, okay, should I rest today or should I work today? And then you think, okay, right now, in this current moment, I want to rest. Okay, great. My heart's telling me I want to rest. Awesome, I'm just going to rest. And you don't have to feel guilty about it. You just got to trust. You got to trust the plan. Trust God. Trust that whatever is being given to you in your heart is what is true, ultimately, on like an ultimate big picture level. Because all of these variables that I mentioned are all being crunched to give you a simple signal in the form of just a good feeling. You see, God itself, right, follows the principles of the Tao Te Ching, right? Because really what that book is about is aligning yourself with the natural harmony of the universe. So think about how intelligent God is to design reality, to design consciousness in such a way that whatever feels good for you will make your life better and easier. And then whatever doesn't feel good, whatever feels anxious and afraid and bad and closed and stressful, that will make your life worse. So it's like the best designed system. I don't know how it was designed that way, but it's genius. Whatever feels good will bring you more good feelings. Whatever feels stressful and anxious will bring you more bad feelings. You can use this principle even just like when entertaining thoughts. So like on a moment-to-moment basis, and you're being mindful of your thoughts. You can ask yourself, like, this thought that I'm currently thinking, let's say I'm worrying about money. This thought, how does it feel? Money anxiety, right? It feels stressful. It feels tight. It feels like terror, like I'm gonna die, right? It's because it's fear-based. It's ego-based. It's based on separation. Ego is separation from what? What are we separated from? We're separated from the source of abundance, which is the waterfall of bliss that just overflows from our heart. Your heart is infinity. It's infinite abundance. It's a plenum. When you're in ego consciousness in your mind, you're not in your heart, you're in your mind. So you're in separation consciousness. You're actually separated. So when you're separated, then that's the birth of fear, right? Where the Upanishad said, where there is other, there is fear. But where there is oneness, there is no fear. Because ultimately the greatest fear is the fear that you're going to die. And that's what leads to attachment. That's what leads to projected importance. Like, oh, it's very important for me to make money. Otherwise, I'm going to die. Now, this is where the radical trust in God comes in, because trusting in God sometimes means that you have to accept your death. And then when you accept your death, now you don't worry about it anymore. Now you feel abundant. Now you're free to do whatever you want. For example, if I'm going to go talk to a beautiful woman and I've accepted my death, like I'm literally, I have not a single care, not a single attachment to my selfish ego. I don't care what happens. If she spits in my face, okay, fine, whatever. If she, I don't know, like gives me a blowjob right there on the spot, I don't even care about that. Whatever, like it doesn't fucking matter. It's just, I'm just literally enjoying reality. I'm just having fun in the moment. I'm gonna go talk to this girl just for fun because I'm God and I'm infinite and I just kind of do what I want, basically just for fun and nothing else to do. Here we are. We got the beautiful body. Let's go use it for fun, right? And not worry about dying all the time. Not worrying about bad things happening to me all the time. When you take action without worrying about bad things happening to you, your ego mind will tell you, oh, Adam, but if I never worry about bad things happening to me, then I'm just going to go like walk into a pit of snakes and then get bitten and die. This is where trusting our intuition comes in, trusting the natural flow of the moment. You have to trust yourself. Why don't you just trust yourself to not die? Just trust that you're gonna figure it out. You're like, if you go up to that pretty girl, right, and like you say like, oh, I don't know what to say. Just trust that when you're there, you'll figure out what to say. Trust that you don't have to do something specific to get the result. You don't have to follow the formula or the code to get the result. You just do it naturally. Now, this might be bad advice actually, because a lot of people first need to learn the theory of a thing. Then once you learn the theory, then you let go of the theory, completely discard the theory, and then make it natural. Because what you've done is you've transcended the theory and then included the theory into your being as well. So honestly, it's easy for me to say, oh, just go up to the girl and say whatever you want, because I've already embodied and internalized the principles of dating and attraction. So for me, obviously it's easy to say like, just be natural. But for you, maybe you need to actually read a book or two about how to date. I always recommend the book Models by Mark Manson. It's the best dating book that exists. Just go read that one. It'll fix your entire dating life. The Way to Superior Man. So like a lot of these things I've already embodied. So now I don't have to think about it. Now I can just kind of let it go, and then now I can be natural. But for you, maybe you need to learn first. You need to meet the guide first and then follow your heart. That's how the hero's journey works, right? In the beginning, we suck, right? I don't know how to make money. I don't know how to date. It's just the status quo, but the status quo is unsatisfying. Then we meet the guide. So we actually need guidance. We need someone who has been there before to show us the way, to give us a plan, right? So we need a plan in our life. We need techniques. We need books. I've read like hundreds of books, maybe not hundreds. I probably read maybe about 200 books. So, I'm up here saying like, you don't need to read, you don't need, just follow your heart, right? But okay, yes, definitely follow your heart, but also read books as well. I just read Sex Ecology, Spirituality by Ken Wilber. So I read books. I learn things. I look at plans, right? I learn the way things should be done, but I try not to make it too complicated for myself, because then we can fall into this trap of like reading book after book after book after book, where I'm reading like 20 marketing books, where you don't really need to read 20 marketing books if you want to get good at marketing. Really, you need to read one marketing book and then just like apply it. Even with meditation, if you read one meditation book and then apply it, it's better than reading 20 meditation books. But it really depends. Sometimes you want to read multiple perspectives, right? So it's weird. Like you kind of want to do both. Like you want to get a lot of different perspectives, right? Especially if it's a topic you're interested in, right? That it excites your heart. You want to learn everything there is to know about it. But then you also want to kind of keep it simple and always remember to go back to the basics and to go back to the principles and to not make it too complicated and just follow your natural intuition. Make it simple. Don't make it complicated. So also, Lao Tzu talks about simplicity, patience, and compassion, right? We just talked about simplicity. Now I want to talk about patience, right? Patience is about just waiting to see what happens. It's about like not reacting immediately. Patience is about something happens and you observe it. Patience is about observation. It's about waiting a second. Just calm down for a second. Wait. I don't know what's gonna happen. I need to kind of pause and see what's gonna happen. Don't be so quick to jump to a conclusion, right? Like if it's hard to think of a practical example, but this is the attitude. Be patient. Just like wait. We don't know what's going to happen. Just be present. Just sit with it. So, good example when you're meditating, right? And a pain arises, right? It might arise in your knee, right? You have a strong, sharp pain in your knee. If you want to exercise patience, instead of reacting immediately to the pain and closing off and judging it, say, oh, fuck, my knee's hurting again. Just be patient. Say, wait a second. Wait, what's going on? Receive the pain first. We react before we've even received it. When you receive the pain, you kind of open up to it and you kind of investigate it and you're just kind of interested in it. It doesn't hurt. It's just like sensations. It just kind of melts. It moves and morphs. But if you don't resist it, then doesn't hurt anymore. And the last principle that Lao Tzu talks about is compassion, right? Really trying to like understand another person, which is what we talked about. So how do we go with the flow of life? On a moment-to-moment basis, you want to ask your heart, how do I feel right now? What do I genuinely want to do right now? And then just do that and just trust that it's going to work because the divine infinite super intelligence has already calculated it for you. And as an experiment, if you don't trust me or you don't believe me, good. Try going against your heart. So actually observe, like when I listen to my fear-based ego rationalizations, how does my life turn out? Versus when I listen to my just heart feeling and I just make it natural and easy and simple, how does my life turn out? And you can observe like a scientist, actually test in your experience. See, oh, okay, when I listen to my ego mind, I become tired, I become angry, I become stressed out, I become anxious. Okay, great. Now I know I don't gotta, get my panties all up in a twist about it. I can just say, okay, now I know. Or if I follow my heart, then, I feel light. I feel energetic. I feel relaxed. I feel calm. I feel happy. I feel creative. I feel abundant. Awesome. Okay, great. I'm going to do more of that. So just test in your experience, see how this works. And this was like how to live like a sage. This is how to live like Lao Tzu. This is how to allow the flow of life to carry you towards your goals. Now, a simple note on discipline. So Adam, how do I like use this go with the flow mentality, and then how do I mix that in with discipline that we were talking about a few weeks ago? Well, what I've been doing recently is I've been waking up at 5, exercising for 20 minutes, meditating for 20 minutes, and then reading for 20 minutes. But I don't make it too important. I make it easy. I don't make it a big deal. Yeah, I'm going to wake up at 5 and I'll be a little tired, whatever, big deal. I'll exercise, meditate, and read. So that's my discipline. So I discipline myself in the morning. In the morning, I kind of get up, regardless of if I feel like it or not. But then after, I just kind of go with the flow and plan my day based on what I feel like I want to do that day. And whenever I start worrying about like practical things like paying bills or organizing business stuff or just like seeing my family or just like worrying about stuff, whenever I find myself worrying about something, I let it go in that moment, and I say, you know what, I'm going to come back to this after, because right now it feels tense and closed to worry about this. So I'm not going to. Now, guys, sometimes it's important to face difficulty. So I'm saying like, oh, just always do what feels good. I'll just, eat chocolate all day. Right? If I just do what feels good, okay, Adam, great. I'll just eat chocolate and masturbate and watch football all day. Okay, so let's actually take this to the extreme. Let's actually do a thought experiment. I don't know if you've ever done that. I've done that, where I eat chocolate and masturbate and play video games for a whole week straight. I've done that. And I find that after doing that, it starts to not feel good anymore to do it. So now what feels good is to go take a shower, go brush my teeth and clean my room. Maybe now what feels good is to go work out at the gym and to meditate and read a book. Now that's what feels good. So in the beginning, it felt good to just eat chocolate and masturbate and play League of Legends all day. But after overdoing that, now, eventually, it's too much. Now it starts to feel bad to eat chocolate and masturbate and play League of Legends all day. I don't even want to do it anymore if you do it too much. Now, I want to actually grow myself and self-actualize and personally develop. So even if you go with the flow and you say, oh, Adam, I'm just going to be lazy all day. Yeah, okay, that's okay to be lazy all day. Because if you take laziness to its ultimate extreme, you actually take laziness all the way to the end and you actually let yourself be lazy. And you bask in your laziness and you enjoy it like Jabba the Hutt. Right? You just fucking be the laziest fuck on planet Earth. Then it actually goes full circle where you say to yourself, okay, I've been lazy. I've allowed myself ultimate laziness. Great, I got that out of my system. Now I feel good to go work because I let myself be lazy. Now I'm going to go work. Some people never let themselves be lazy. Their entire goddamn life is always on edge, not letting themselves be lazy because they're afraid if they just like rest for a bit, then like reality's gonna crumble underneath their feet and they're not gonna make money and they're gonna become a lazy bum. So there's a balance here, guys. There's such thing as too much laziness, obviously. But there's also such thing as too much discipline. And how do we balance the two? This is the middle way. We balance effort and surrender. We follow our heart. We balance effort and surrender in the moment. And we don't make it a big deal. It's not a big deal. Oh, I want to rest now. Okay. Big deal. Reality's not going to collapse if I rest right now. Or, okay, I want to work right now. Okay, this is not the most important thing ever. I'm going to work. Okay, great. Nice. I like working. That's why you want to do work that you like. Follow your heart when you work. How do you expect to live a self-actualized life if you're not following your heart in your work? Your heart inspiration, that's the energy that actually fuels you to work. I personally can't work unless I like the thing that I'm doing. or if the thing that I'm doing will support something that I like. So, I don't really like, creating a website, right? And creating funnel. I don't really care about clicking around on my computer. I prefer speaking on camera. But I like what that thing will get me. I like making a website because the website will get me more of what I like, which is coaching people and helping people and making videos. So follow your heart and always choose the path with heart. Trust it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Trust it's gonna work. This fear of like, what if it doesn't work? That's an ungrounded, stupid fear. Stupid, actually. Because if it feels right in your heart that it's gonna work, you're basically arguing with infinite superintelligence. So you are the ego. I'm not, attacking you personally, but I'm attacking myself. I'm just trying to demonstrate the absurdity of the ego mind and the absurdity of fearing that my heart passion won't work. It's absurd because infinite superintelligence is telling me that this is gonna work, but I'm so arrogant to think that I'm more intelligent and than infinite superintelligence. That's the arrogance of the ego, thinking that like, oh, God didn't already calculate everything. I have to do it myself, right? This egoic mentality of like, if I don't make sure that I'm not supported, then nobody else is going to support me. God won't support me. God doesn't love me. I'm going to be fucked, right? But if you really pay very close attention to the present moment right now, really notice how much support you've actually gotten already in your life. Like tons of support. And you might say, oh, Adam, you don't know me. You don't know my life. I had to struggle and claw and fight. Okay. I understand sometimes we have difficult life experiences. I understand. But even in lieu of that, you still have been given a lot of support, a lot of blessings, a lot of things have been aligned for you, have been working out for you easily. And in fact, a lot of the times you're fighting and clawing, that was your fault. That wasn't God's fault. That was your fault. You were the one that was fighting and clawing and making it difficult and challenging for yourself. So you can actually make your life less challenging by stop thinking that you need to fight so hard to survive and to get things done. Right? You need to discipline yourself a bit. You need to work when it's time, but you rest when it's time. That's what it says in the book of Ecclesiastes. Everything in its season. There's a time to reap, a time to sow. There's a time to be serious. There's a time to laugh. There's a time to raise your children. There's a time to work on your business. Everything in its season. And it's this kind of infinite flow. And you really need to respect what is going on here on earth, you could say. Right now, somehow, God or the Holy Spirit or infinite superintelligence or Brahma or Mu or whatever the fuck you want to call it, there's an infinite number of names for the source of infinity. Right now, somehow, it is effectively managing the lives of 7 billion people and watching out for them and helping them with synchronicities. Now, some theories will say actually that it's not God itself that's watching out for us, but our spirit guides or angels, which are actual beings that actually exist on a higher density of consciousness. They actually exist. They're still made of God. They're still made of consciousness, but they exist on a higher density of consciousness. And these spirit guides or angels, they're the ones that actually give you synchronicities and blessings and make your life easier and help you out. So this theory, I don't know if it's true. I've never really seen angels, but it makes like amazing logical sense to me in my worldview. If you want to learn more about that, read the book Levels of Energy by Frederick Dodson. He just talks about how reality is made of different densities of consciousness. It vibrates at different frequencies and patterns. It's all one substance. It's all infinity, but it vibrates at different densities. There's very low density beings that are actual demons that are not powerful. They're only powerful if you're afraid of them. They're only powerful if you give them power. So don't worry about demons. Demons are weak, right? They have, because they're not close to God. They're very far away from God. They're very selfish. They're very egotistical. So the lower on the scale, the more fear-based, more egotistical, more pain-motivated we are. And then the higher on the scale, the more love and bliss motivated we are. So angels, you could say, exist, very high on this scale of consciousness. Maybe you can experience angels on psychedelics or something like that. Or maybe not. Maybe you can't experience angels on psychedelics. I don't know. I've never tried. But what am I talking about? The point is, what I'm saying is, God's helping you out. The angels, they're helping you out. Okay? And guys, I'm a very rationally minded, scientifically minded person, but it would actually be irrational of me to claim that these things don't check out, when in my mind they actually check out. It all checks out. Maybe in the future I'll talk about levels of energy and angels and demons and stuff, but that was all for today. This was how to go with the flow of life. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do have an announcement. Recently, I announced that I was going to release a program called the Full-Time Passion Program that was going to help you go full-time with what you love, basically by creating content on social media, email lists, and creating digital courses and building an audience, building a relationship with them, and then selling, right? That's something I figured out how to do for myself. I don't think that I'm going to be releasing that exact course, just because I've been listening to my heart and I've been feeling like maybe that's not the best path for me. I don't really care that much about helping people with marketing and business. Although, if you are interested, you can come join the Self-Actualizer Academy for free. Send me a message on there and I'll help you. I've been helping people, giving them free Zoom calls, just giving them advice. If you're someone who's trying to start like a business from your passion, yeah, I'll give you some advice. I'll help you for free. However, what I am pivoting, the program that I was going to release, is as I was planning it, I was kind of realizing that the most important thing when it comes to creating a full-time passion, when it comes to living as the best version of yourself, when it comes to connecting to God and living in alignment with your highest self, what's most important really is interior development, internal development, using meditation practices, using the right mindset and the right psychological framework, and also using body awareness practices as well, relaxing your body, being present in the moment. So the new program that I'm releasing, it's not ready yet, but I'm going to be pivoting back to what I was doing before, which was called Embodied Consciousness, where I'm really helping you to embody a higher state of consciousness, because that's really the way that you get your life to work, honestly, in every single area. That's the way you be the best version of yourself. I just got another idea for something I wanted to talk about in this video, but I'll leave it in the end notes. But when you embody your higher state of consciousness, when you actually learn how to be present, when you learn how to connect with your intuition, when you learn how to hold your body in an aligned way, when you learn how to not worry so much, not give in to anxious thoughts, but you kind of just trust the plan and you trust the universe, you trust God, and you do meditation and you actually build your mindfulness and your concentration. When you learn how to relax your body, when you learn how to manage your internal energy or your prana in a simple but effective way, then that's really how you get every single thing in your life to work. That's how you get your relationships to work. That's how you get your business and your passion to work. That's how you get your health to work. And that's how you just feel happy. That's how you self-actualize. That's how you be the best version of yourself. That's how you actualize your soul's mission that you came here to actualize. So I'm going to be releasing an in-depth coaching program very soon. It's going to have a little bit of very simple training. We're going to go into a lot of practices and details. And there's also going to be a lot of like one-on-one support from me. So it's not ready yet, but I just wanted to let you know that it's coming. Get excited for it. It's awesome if you're someone who wants to embody the highest state of consciousness that you possibly can. I'm going to show you how to do that. I've spent the last 6 years going on tons of meditation retreats, talking to like masters and meditating my ass off and learning and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And I'll make it a lot easier for you in that program. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, subscribe. My name is Adam. I make videos about self-actualization and spirituality. I help you to embody the highest version of yourself. I make new videos every single Sunday, so consider subscribing. If you wanted to learn a little bit more about like the twisted logic of mysticism, actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to recommend that video. The video I'm going to recommend is how to follow the middle path in your life. It's very related to what we talked about here. Check that video out. I'll link it right here. And otherwise, stay tuned. And new amazing videos are on the way, and I'll see you in the next one.